Hey everyone, Rage here, and welcome back to an OC Explain video. Today we have an OC from another series I'm working on called Lucy. Trust me, the name may sound simple, but trust me, this video, it's anything but. Okay, basically, who is Lucy? Well, she's a human girl with basically a prosthetic arm. Wait, she doesn't remember. She doesn't know how exactly she got it though. Yeah, yeah, that's gonna come up later inside the story. Oh, also the also see then what she's also an orphan who constantly runs away from her foster homes. However, yeah, the police really even know 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 exactly how she looks like as well because they always have to get involved in trying to find her. Yeah, yeah. Trust me, the series is about to get more intense later on. First, at the a- at the age of at the age of 10, she basically was a pretty great little builder. Built a lot of stuff out of trash, basically, to the point where she literally was able to build or she had an entire warehouse with its own little security system using a bunch of hammers and phones that she found lying around, with all sorts of booby traps in there that keeps cops at bay. However, one day one of the cops were actually able to find her security room, and however, due to but so she, and grabbed her so they can take her back to her foster parents again. However, during a struggle as she struggled to get out of the hold, she accidentally knocked off his gun from off his police belt. However, the gun caused it to fire at something. Yeah, turns out the thing that was shot was a little, a giant container of water. Yeah, I got to mention this building. This old building was meant to be torn down because it was directly next to a water tower thing. Yeah, that caused the entire. Yep, that caused a big bust, causing it. Luckily, she was able to find something to stay inside, like a boat, something, and use it like a boat. But she then found herself in so, when all the water cleared, all the cops surrounded the area where she was at. She then went inside a little shack to try to see if there was any way to escape. The cops like, all right, she's completely surrounded, and the odds of there being like some sort of like secret tunnels pretty low. So when they went in, they found nothing. They went to the shack and they found absolutely nothing. No, they couldn't find a secret tunnel, nothing. It's as if she just vanished out of thin air. Turns out when she went in, she found a portal, so she didn't know where it led, but hey, if it meant escaping the cops, why the hell not? And then just jumped straight through. And now this is where the journey really begins. Welcome to the world of. And I haven't really thought of a name for the world yet. I guess I can. I guess I can just like let you guys pick, and whoever gets the highest like comment, I'll just use that then. Ooh. Also, when She she appeared in like some sort of temple-like thing when she found a staff. At first, it just looked like some regular old pool until it extended, something like Goku's Power Ball. So she decided to take it with her, like, oh, why? Because why not? She also, inside this world, she also made some friends of different species. Yeah, because there's more than just human species inside this world. In fact, she's actually like the only humans of the world. We got elves. We even have some unique creatures, like one that can produce chains from any point of their body. Whose name? Whose name is Marcy. Then we have also, and as and there's also these things known as. However, there was also huh, leaders of certain religions who follow a specific god, because there's gods that basically run this world. Basically, they will known as a god's host. These hosts become the leader of their respective religions. Mhm. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this part. But she also had also, also Lucy has basically thousands of voices in her head. Yeah, when I made this character, I took a lot. My inspiration for this character was that actually, I'm gonna let you all try to guess who the inspiration was. Trust me, at the end of this video, you guys will be easily able to tell. You see, she found a cave to call home, and well, begins her journey through this weird, mysterious world. And trust me, she had a couple scraps in this world with some people as well. But but one of her strongest opponents that she ever fought was mm, Usani Nasunika. Who's Usani Nasunika? Well, then her basically when she was born, a hundred different fortune tellers literally said that she would become the strongest magic user in in the in the world. Mhm. Not just the strongest, but also the best. Yeah, it's hard to argue when 100 different people literally said that you was going to be the best and strongest at something. So, so when she was taken in by basically the king of this world to make sure that this became true, yeah, this series is a long one. She then be so she spent most of her life just training, training. Yeah, magic does exist in this world, by the way. However, she even learned a couple divine spells. See, remember those god things, god hosts I was talking about? Well, apparently, apparently they even taught her some of the spells. But we'll talk about her in another video. But right now, she was see during a little live event where everyone was invited. You see, Lucy was Lucy broke a couple of rules, so she so shoot, I forgot the name already. Yeah, the name can sometimes be difficult to remember. Nika? I'm just gonna call it Nika for short. I'm gonna call it Nika for short. Nika. Okay. Well, she ba- so basically she was going to teach her a lesson for breaking rules. While Lucy did win, it wasn't a easy victory. She did have to also fight dirty at the end just to squeak out the finishing blow. Though really did shatter her pride because this was actually the first time she ever lost a duel. Well, but now let's see how the. Hey, but why don't we get into the more intense stuff? After a couple years later, apparently the apparent, apparently the king is actually trying. Turns out the king is actually being possessed by some sort of being. Basically, this being was long since sealed away by the gods, and it promised into a specific sword that the king uses. However, upon being yielded, it started corrupting the king's mind. The king does try to fight it, but it just can't. It's too strong for him. Basically, it it may it basically lured the king into grabbing it by saying that he could about this you could become a great leader. No one will ever mess with your kingdom. Basically, trying to make it where it'd be like nothing can ever harm you with as long as I'm with you, sort of thing. So Lucy and her friends who are now plans on trying to topple this government to make sure everyone else is safe. They even met some few other people. However, eventually, even Nika, eventually even getting Nika on their side, and maybe a little crush. What I ship these. By the way, yes, I do ship my own OCs for stuff. Don't judge me. Yes, there is going to be some build up before Nika betrays the king. Now, isn't this going to happen just like one episode out of the blue, or one part in a series? But now, what? Me? But now, oh, also, eventually at one point, they decide, in order to, you see, upon fighting upon finding someone, basically it was one of the king's strongest warriors. That wasn't Nika, but during a while Lucy had her back turned, trying to inspire her friends to fight forward and beat this guy. She then felt a sudden pain in her chest. She felt like she could barely breathe. That's when she looked down to see her own heart in his hands, inside the warrior's hands. He then proceeded to rip it out. And before she collapsed with a gaping hole in her chest, she said, "Well, That's disheartening. Before she could finish her sentence, collapsing to the ground. Her friends immediately rushed into battle to avenge her. Af- After a while, some- something began to happen, as if another voice. This one was new. She recognized every other voice, but this one seemed different, as if it's ask calling out her name to let the power flow. And then it reveals all this happened inside her head. But something but then as it slowly pans over to her heart, you see something. A beat. It starts beating outside of her body. Then tiny blood legs start appearing, crawled back into her chest, and then resealed the wound. Then she opened her eyes once more, rubbing her head, wondering how is she still alive. As some rubble fall towards her, she puts she puts her arm up like, huh? Wait. As she sees her, remember that prosthetic arm? Yeah, that was taken off, and now she has an arm that's made out of fucking blood. Yeah, apparently the person who was talking to them was the blood god. I swear, if you guys haven't figured out who the inspiration for this character was yet, you really need to think more about it. Apparently she had complete control over her own blood and can produce a lot of it. She even used it to form like stuff like wings, weapons, including a gigantic fist. Basically, she can eat, one time she was like literally reduced to a paste while inside the state, and she just reformed her body while inside the state. While these healing abilities don't really work outside of this state, it's still a unique thing. You see, these voices been with her ever since she was a child, for as long as she can remember. Yep. Yeah, don't question it. Hmm. She, she also has this another state where she goes into basically a berserker like rage, basically which only has one thing on its mind: slaughter anything in its path. It also doesn't track by color, by seeing the people, it tracks them by their blood. Her eyes basically turn red as he tracks the blood around her. With only one thing on her mind: kill, kill, never stop. That's what the voices are screaming. Now, I know you all are curious. Okay, what? How come she has a prosthetic arm and all these voices in her head? Oh boy. Well, at one point in the series, they end up coming back to her, to Lucy. Lucy and her team can end up coming back to her home world. However, they decided Lucy wanted to know exactly what, while she's here, she wanted to know exactly what happened to her parents because she was never told what happened. Just that they died. That's all. Eventually, they found them at some sort of old looking building that apparently some that seems to be worshipping the blood god. Turns out all the voices that she's hearing were all the followers of the blood god that basically drowned drained all the blood from their body to make a new vessel for the blood god. Yep. Also, and they also had the but in order to make the new vessel fully work, they needed to make they needed to sacrifice a limb, perhaps an arm, maybe. Yeah, it turns out she turns out Lucy was supposed to be the vessel of the blood god, the new vessel for the blood god. However, it was supposed to make her basically a mindless killing machine. However, to, however, due to police coming in of human like cult like activity, they didn't find this baby in blood. So before the ritual was fully completed, they were able to get her out. And her reaction to all this? Well, I think it would be the normal reaction to someone figuring she reacted well. I mean, well enough if anyone would if you found out your entire point of existing was to become a living weapon. Yeah, yeah, she lived a while she eventually was able to recover from all this. She she did eventually even complete her goal of stopping the king. However, this was after being imbued with all the powers of every god. And trust me, there's a lot of them. Death, destruction, creation, nature, ocean, darkness, light, life, like all sorts of them. Well, I know this may not have been one of my best ones, but due to how complex this story can get, yeah, it's like one of those stories that's hard to explain. It needs to be watched, but it's like one of those stories that you make it like, oh, it's like super hard to explain. You just have to watch it to make sense of it. Wow, this has to be now one of my longest videos I ever made. Well, I guess until next time. I guess that's it for right now. I'll keep if I ever decide to add anything else to the story. I guess I will. I guess I'll tell you guys. Well, until next time, rage out. Me.